and I'm going to start recording as well so that we can put this session on the website. For those of you who are members, you can log in and watch it again and also download the PowerPoint presentation. So hello, my name is Gradle Gardner Martin and I'm the owner of Elevate Training and Development. I too am a practicing social worker. I'm a registered social worker, so I will be doing my re-registration as well during this period. So what we know currently is that there are 89,529 social workers registered with the HCPC, and that re-registration will take place between the 1st of September to the 30th of November 2014, with a completion date, is my understanding now, of the 1st of December, and that it will be the process for registration or re-registration will be online or a paper format. What the HCPC has done is they have included some really useful information on their site, and this is the first link that I'm putting here for everyone to see. After this presentation, go take a look at this. They have outlined everything that we need to know in order to make our online application, or if you're not going to do an online application, the paper application. So 2 years ago, when we registered between November and January, there were about 80,000 social workers, and at the end of the registration period 2 years ago it ended up being 88,000, and of course as new cohorts come through from university we've now reached the giddy heights of 89,529 social workers. We are the largest number of workers, professional workers, on the HCPC membership members of the regulators. So I'm just going to mute everyone as people attend. That's better. So we are the largest numbers of workers, but we're the most recent workers, most recent professionals to be added to the HCPC. They are the regulator, and it is, as you know, up to them to decide if we stay on as registered and using the protected title, and they've published loads of standards that you should make yourself familiar with. So the standards that we should know as social workers are all included in the information that's been sent to you, and also information that you've been getting over the last 2 years that you should be aware of. That we need to maintain a continuous and up-to-date and accurate record of CPD activities. We need to demonstrate that our CPD activities are a mixture of learning activities relevant to current or future practice. We need to seek to ensure that our CPD has contributed to the quality of practice and service delivery, and we need to seek to ensure that CPD benefits the service users that we work with, the vulnerable people we work with. And upon request, we need to present a written profile of our own work and supported by evidence explaining how we met the standards of CPD. So in terms of that, what we're really clear about in this process is that coming up to the 1st of September, these are all the things that we're going to be asked to provide. We're going to have to declare that we have kept an ongoing up-to-date and accurate record of CPD, and that we also demonstrate that with a mixture of learning activities, and should we be chosen for audit, that we can show in a written profile on request how we met the standards. So basically, when you renew your registration, what you're going to do is, and they would rather we do it online, not on paper format, although they will accept it, online, they would like us to declare that we've undertaken CPD and that we have a record and we've met all the standards, and that we declare that we continue to practice and that we include the relevant fee. So what's important is that we have to tick several boxes that say we've got this learning log, we have not taken the profession into disrepute, we have continued to be a social worker and practice as a social worker and got supervision from a registered social worker, that we have been clear and transparent, and all we have done has been with a view to make a difference to the lives of service users, and that we have grown and developed over the last 2 years, plus we've paid the fee. And so that's what the renewal is all about. You pay your fee and you make the declaration. Okay. Does anyone have any questions up until then that I can answer? Just type it into the chat. Okay, so people are saying seems easy. It is. It basically is easy. What we need to ensure, though, is that we can click that button and declare that this is what we've done. Is there a link to register? Yes, there is a link to register. What will happen is on the 1st of September, you will be contacted directly by the HCPC and they will send you a link to register. And in fact, I have the link to register on this PowerPoint presentation, so I will send it to you. Now, it becomes to get a bit tricky if you are you're welcome, if you are the 2.5% that's chosen to be audited. This is really important because some of you over the last 2 years may have been permanent workers employed by local authorities or other agencies, but I would guess that the majority of people who are agency social workers have not been employed by local authorities and so haven't really been keeping up a portfolio. Your colleagues, and correct me if I'm wrong, but some of the places where I've worked in, their learning and development teams and services across children's and across adults have already been, or have been for a while, speaking to social workers who are permanent social workers about ensuring that they undertake CPD activities and that they continue to do that and that they're logged. And managers are discussing with social workers, we hope, as part of good practice, within supervision about how their CPD is going. For agency social workers, that can be a little bit problematic. I mean, I know that some agency social workers get a really great service from permanent managers who manage them, and they're able to go on a good range of training and also have supervision which is really ideal and meets their needs and has been tracking their CPD. But I think that a lot of agency workers won't have had this. So it might be unfamiliar to you about what your portfolio might look like, and nobody may be looking at it with you. So in most local authorities, and we know of the ones certainly that are under the spotlight in terms of being inspected, they will ensure that their workforce have as good a social work portfolio as possible. And someone's asking, what if they're not in a social work role? It's not dependent on what role you're in. What is vitally dependent is that if you are using the protected title of social worker and you want to maintain your registration, that you do the portfolio, and that you will be audited if you are chosen at random. So if you are, how would it work if you're only qualified for the last year and employed for only 3 months? That's a good question. People who have not been registered for 2 years are exempt from audit thank goodness. So I guess that's a sigh of relief for those of you who haven't been on for 2 years. It's absolutely fine. Do I need to be supervised by a registered social worker? Someone's asking. Yes, you actually is part of your registration to be supervised if you are undertaking the role of social worker as a registered social worker. So 500-word summary of recent work practice if you are asked to be audited. You will also have to provide a 1,500-word personal statement of everything that you've done in the last 2 years. How has that made a difference to the lives of service users, and how has that developed your practice and your profession? And you also should ensure that you have supporting evidence within the information. Now, there is someone's asking about the portfolio. There are examples on the HCPC website of what these things would look like. So there is, for all professions, there's examples of what a 500-word summary would look like, what a 1,500-word personal statement would look like, and how you would cross-reference it with your supporting evidence. A little bit more about the auditing process. The people who will audit you will be a group of your peers. Someone's asking, what about those who qualified over 3 years but have just completed the assessed and supported year in employment? The assessed and supported year in employment is an example of CPD, so that is your portfolio. So you can click for the last year and declare that's what you did, because you've got loads of evidence in there to say that you've been doing ongoing CPD. If you registered with the HCPC 2 years ago, you may be chosen for audit. You can use your ASYE. You're welcome. You can use your ASYE, and you can use any training or learning activities that you did prior to your ASYE. Someone is saying that for the last 10 months they've been in the youth service. Let me just check that question again so I can answer it correctly. Was not very clear. The last 10 months I've been an agency within a youth service in a non-social work role. My supervisor is not a registered social worker. Will this be a problem? No, it won't be a problem. What will be a problem is if you are using the title social worker and you are being supervised by someone who's not a social worker. With regard to your declaration, you can use the protected title, but you're not currently using it. But you will have to explain, if you are asked to, what you've been doing to continue to keep your registration up to date. So no, it's absolutely fine. There's lots of people who are not practicing as social workers but who are qualified social workers who are working in non-social work roles and have supervisors who are not social workers. What they will say though, if you are chosen to audit, you'll have to explain why you should be able to use the protected title and that you have kept up the standards. So you will need to do some thinking about what is it that you've been doing over the last 2 years that you could evidence as something that would continue your registration. I know that's a little bit convoluted, but people who are not in the using the title still need to say why they should be given the title. Okay, I hope that helps. Someone else has a question. Will I have to provide copies of training certificates, supervision notes, etc. as evidence? Okay, no, the HCPC does not want you to provide loads and loads of information like that. They want a cross-reference to it. So what they will want to know is that you have completed reflective logs, that you can give some samples of that. They do want samples, but they don't want everything. So they will say, and it's worth looking at the HCP site because there is a table on there which clearly identifies the information that they want, and it will say things, for example, when you do your profile, I completed 5 sets of supervision with social workers, and I discussed these areas, and this is evidenced in my supervision notes, which are kept on the social worker's file. So you don't need to be sending all of your evidence. That's not appropriate to do so. However, if there is a deep dive into your audited work, you may be asked to add or send additional information. Someone is saying my registration with the HCPC started in November 2012, so am I correct in saying that I will not be audited? No, November 20, everyone who started in 2012, that was not last year, it was the year before, that's 2 years, so you may possibly be audited. It's anyone who's been registered for the last 2 years, so we're coming up for 2 years. Okay, so Anthony, I hope I answered your question okay, and it includes agency social workers, non-registered, social workers who are not in social work jobs, but if you intend to use the protected title and stay on the register, you need to submit and declare. Okay, so as part of the auditing process, you'll be asked to provide your information within the time slot of the 1st of September to the 1st of December, and your peers will be auditing the information that you send in, and if you can ask for a deferment if you can't send that information in, or an extension. There is some leeway, but you will still have to send the information in, and then the assessment will state if your information that you sent in for audit met or did not meet or partially met the standards. Some recommendations will be made, such as should there be a reassessment, and there is a appeal criteria. Now, all we can do as social workers is look back at the other professions and see what's happened to them. There are a lot of us social workers, so that it's going to be a really big task to undertake, but there's lots of guidance for you to follow. And someone's asking a question. 2013 was very hard for me as I became a carer for my mother, and sadly she passed away. I'm sorry to hear that. So less work during this time, will this be a problem? I think that what's important is that people clearly outline what they were doing, but also say and really think back to those times when you weren't practicing as a social worker. Were there things that you still were doing which could show that you were keeping up to a standard? And really some of the information, when we look at it, that they're asking for us in terms of learning activities, they are not as highbrow as we think they are. I mean, there's a range of things that we can do, and I'll show you that a bit later. Someone is saying, what if you're practicing as an independent social worker? Do you still need to send in audit? Yes, I mean, the HCPC does not really care if we are independent, agency, permanent, temporary, part-time, full-time. What they do want to know is that you continued to meet their standards. So really, they really don't care about that. They just want to know if you're using the protected title, are you using it in the correct way? Because the HCPC is the regulator. They have a set of standards. The College of Social Work is the body that ensures that we meet our professional capabilities. Someone's asking, will the period of auditing only be between the 1st of September and the 1st of December? Absolutely. It's a window of uploading your information, and the auditing period is between that. There will be extensions, I'm sure, for people who need to have a bit more time, but by the 1st of December they expect to be telling us how many people remain registered, and they will have to declare that to government. They will have to put that on their website, and they will also need to be saying what they're going to do for the people that didn't meet the criteria. So what happens next? I'm just going to go into this bit now. If you find that you've not met the necessary, if we find that this is the HCPC speaking, if we find that you have not met the necessary standards, we will give you a further opportunity to meet them within a prescribed time limit, so long as you have made a genuine attempt to meet those standards. If you fail to meet those standards within the set time, we may remove you from the register, although you have a right of appeal. Okay, so the questions about that is, will this auditing be done every 2 years? Most definitely. They will audit, every time we renew, they will audit 2.5. So this year it might not be you, next year, next 2 years it may be you. What percentage of the learning activities can be from reading textbooks and research articles? Well, that's quite interesting, because unlike the General Social Care Council, where it was hours, the HCPC for all of their professions say, well, actually it's just got to be a range of learning activities, but it mustn't be just one type, and there is no percentage. So you will look at all of the things that you're doing. So before, people could, and we know that they did do this, put down they had 90 hours of reading community care, and that was actually signed off and agreed. No more of that. What the HCPC will want to see if you are chosen for audit is that your learning activities ranged across all sorts of different ways of learning, including learning action sets, supervision, reading research, doing research, providing information, writing things, commenting on information that you've heard of, casework discussions, reflective supervision. You need to be ensuring that you are showing all of these things within your audited information, which is why they don't want you to send them all of the evidence. They want to tell them significantly it was a casework discussion with my peers about the new Care Act, or personalisation, or significant harm for children, or I mentored a social worker to attend court and this is what the outcome is. So that's really more, it's a range and it's not prescriptive. So this is very important for us as agency workers, because most of you will see that the HCPC really do mean business, and a lot of workers have been brought up and taken to the panel around the fitness to practice. So although CPD is not linked to fitness to practice, CPD is very much about the education arm of the HCPC. If our actions in relation to CPD amount to misconduct, for example making a false declaration or falsifying CPD, this will lead to your fitness to practice being investigated. If as a result you are struck off the register, you cannot apply to be registered again for at least 5 years. And they will see that through, because the HCPC, unlike the General Social Care Council, is a regulator. How do they inform you if you're chosen? Once we've all put our information in, they will choose you randomly and email you or write to you. How would I know if I'm chosen for auditing? Yes, that's the same thing. They'll let you know, and it's random. I'm presuming they'll use a computer to generate a list of names. So we have no idea, and we don't know who it is. Okay, so some of the questions might be, all right, so, you know, I might not be chosen as a 2.5, and we really get that. But the HCPC are saying, and this is why most of the local authorities and their permanent workers are saying, we don't know who it will be. You need to keep your portfolio up to date. You need to keep your log up to date. You need to make a true declaration. If we find out that you've made a false declaration, you could jeopardise your registration as a social worker. And also, what we do know now is that when we see close scrutiny of the work of social workers. It's a very difficult time. It always has been, but you know, it's much more of a difficult time for us now. There's what we now deem as whistleblowing going on about people's fitness to practice. Audits and deep dives are one way of people saying, you know, what's going on in this area. And you have plenty of time to get it right. You can now reflect and look back and see what's been going on for yourself over the last 2 years. Certainly those of you who are members to our website, we have loads of learning activities that you've been using, and we do help you to keep a reflective log from your profile. I'll show you that in a minute. You can do that. So it's not worth taking the chance. You are being asked to make a true declaration, even though you're not being asked to provide any information immediately. But should you be choosing for as a 2.5, there's only a small window of opportunity to update your learning log and to look over the last 2 years. So you need to be starting right now. I'm just going to go over again what CPD is. It can be action learning sets. It's not a new terminology, but it might be unfamiliar to lots of people, that you may go into groups of learning and have discussions about things with your peers or with a mentor. It's access to research that you find out. Someone's just asking. I'll look at that in a minute. Someone's asked a question, which is there a format to use to send the reflective log? Where to get hold of it? Certainly, if you're a member on our website, there are reflective logs. We've got an online reflective log that workers complete. If you're not a member of our website, then if you download the free 6 hours of CPD, I believe it's in one of those. You can see we've done a pro forma for you. So CPD is action learning sets, access to research, professional supervision, critical incident analysis and critical reflection. And that can include reading, writing, listening, joining in conversations, commenting on, viewing, talking about all sorts of different ways of CPD. HCPC really clear, varied, as long as you can reflect on it and show how it makes a difference to the lives of service users. So agency social workers, you need to stay educated about the changes. So agency social workers and independent social workers. It's no longer 5 days a year, must be continuous, so you need to update your information, or should have updated it on a monthly basis. You need to find the best way for you as an agency worker to access the best training that you possibly can get. We know it's really difficult for you. What happens is that you may join agencies, or you may join, go and work somewhere where they're not so great at giving you training, so you need to be really looking out for that. We know for agency workers that there is a big issue of the cost implication of training. If you don't work, you don't get paid. You need to be doing it at the required level. Now, I haven't gone over the PCFs, but that's the Performance Capability Framework, and you should really all be aware of that, because that's how you're supposed to reflect, and you're supposed to show that. And that's something that was developed and evolved from the work around the reforms, the social work reforms, which was a result of why we've joined the HCPC, but also why the College of Social Work was set up. So you need to know that. It's a rainbow, and it looks at the levels of where you're functioning, from newly qualified social worker to advanced practitioner. You need to use and have access to a range of learning channels, online, live, research information. There are lots of tools out there, and you need to be self-motivated, because this is about professionalism. So it's a turn away from training courses. It's not straight training courses. It's about how professional are you in taking on your development and ensuring that the practice that you do is in line with the standards that's provided. And just to end, we have over 1,000 agency social workers on our membership site, and today, lots of people have been on this webinar. We've been full. What we do is we make these recordings. Someone asked before does this constitute a learning activity? It most certainly does. What you need to do is you need to reflect on it and how it's making a difference, or what you're doing to make a difference to the lives of service users. We have gathered all of our information into what we call a repository, so you've got it sitting there waiting for you to see if you're a member, but also, as I said before, there's some free information that we give off. We also suggest that you contact other places that are offering free training. Social Care Institute of Excellence, that's a wonderful website to take a look at. BASWA offers lots of information. The College of Social Work has great information on there as well. And take up as many mandatory courses as you can do from the local authorities and what they're providing. Okay, so just going to take some more questions. Does anyone have any more questions to ask? Will this training be available later? Yes, this is recorded and it will go on the website. And so will the handout. So the PowerPoint will be available as a downloadable handout for you. More than welcome. Any more questions? I'm confused about the selection criteria. Emily, you're welcome. I'm glad it helped. The selection criteria, basically 2.5 people chosen at 2.5% of the population, that's approximately 1 in 40 social workers will be chosen for audit. That is quite a lot of people, so we're talking about in the thousands. Can I clarify the website bit? Someone's asking me. Which bit, Joanne, would you like me to clarify? Just type that in for me. Everyone who's saying it's very useful, you're welcome. Absolutely welcome. We want to get it right for agency social workers and independent social workers. Do we submit something regardless? I believe you mean the website, the HCPC website. They're going to be basically what you need to do on that. I know you missed that bit. What they're going to do is they will send you a link to click on, and it will be your personal link with your personal identifier. The HCPC will send that online, and they will ask you to pay your fee and to make, I think it's about 5 or a few more declarations to say that you have kept your continuous log up to date, you have continued to act in good faith and within the standards that are provided, that you've continued to work as a social worker, and if you haven't, explaining why. You will be possibly asked to explain why not. Okay. Sorry, Joanne, you're saying the website I mentioned a few minutes ago, that will be the one that's up here in the PowerPoint presentation, is that right? That's this website. Members who are members of socialworkprocesses.co.uk, they are either individual members who have joined up themselves and we offer them learning activities, or they have been registered by their recruitment companies, and we have over 1,000 social workers who have access to our training, so they can all do profiles. I'll just show you what it looks like. There we go. So this is the website, and social workers have profiles here. This is me, this is my profile. I can click on this, and this is where I will add my learning log so that I can download it. So I've put in here what I've been doing over the last 2 years. So I can click the declaration and say, this is what I've been doing when it comes. Okay, yes, you probably are on with Firefly, so you need to log in and take a look. Let me go to the website, show people what that looks like if they're not familiar with it. You log in on the right hand side, and we have numerous learning activities that you can access on here. We have a repository of lots of information, research information going back to 2011. So if you click on any of those, you can read information which is researched and which is appropriate for social workers in any field and at any level. We do guidance on interviewing questions. We have a set of resources that you can download, email to yourself and take part in. One of our popular courses is assertiveness course. Sorry, someone's saying it's difficult to hear. Is that better? Let me know if that's better. Okay. Can everyone hear me? Yeah? Okay, good. So going back to this, for those people unfamiliar with the website or haven't been on here for a little while, we give you lots of information here that you can download, join up to and start doing. So you can read, you can write, you can comment. People often comment on the website. And for the person who, we have webinars, so these recordings that we're doing right now, people attend and then we add them to the website. Here we go. And then you can come back and you can listen and watch, and these all constitute learning activities, because what you do in the end is you complete a reflective log with us. And just going to scroll down here to the bottom. This is an example of a recording. We put everything on here. So you scroll down. So my screen's frozen. It will unfreeze in a minute. Basically, we have an online reflective log, and you complete that, send it to us. That's part of your portfolio, and then we send you a certificate. So we help you gather all of the information that you need. It doesn't take the place of face-to-face training. We're not trying to do that, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to give social workers who are agency workers who have difficulty. You're welcome. I'm glad it looks helpful. It is great. Thank you. We're trying to give agency social workers a chance to access usable information in one place. And so I think we've, if I can scroll down here, I will show you. We have the learning log information and we have an online reflective log. So once you've done your information, your learning activity, you can click on here. You can read about, we've got lots of guidance you can download, and then you fill this form in and it's your reflective log basically, and it's sent to us, and then we send you a certificate in return. So we have lots of resources for newly qualified social workers, for social workers at every level, because this is about professional development. It's not just what we offer is not just about training for social workers to do specific things. This is all in keeping with professional development. Okay, there was another question. Sharina, thank you for that. I hope you can access it, and people who know that they're on it, please do log in. I'll show you how to log in a minute. Helen saying, as a newly qualified social worker, less than 2 years, how can I meet the requirements for renewal of my registration? Helen, they will only be auditing people who've been registered for the 2-year period. All you need to do is make sure that you continue to do learning activities every month and log those learning activities. Okay, so you shouldn't worry about that. It should be fine. Do you have examples of logs? If so, where can I find them? Yes, we do have examples of reflective logs. What I also said was that the HCPC have portfolios that you can take a look at. Can you upload Word documents, or must it be in format shown re reflective logs? Now, we do this format. It's absolutely fine. If you wanted to send us a reflective log on a Word document, that'd be fine as well. That's okay. We've just done this for ease. Someone saying it's not always easy to complete the log straight away. Is it okay to complete them later? Yes, it's not easy. You know, you're really busy. We're all really busy. I really get that. For you to have done a learning activity, is really great. And then, yes, you do need to find time for you to complete the reflective logs, but you don't need to do it straight away. What's really important is that you write down that you have completed something and then do the reflective log a bit later. I'm feeling more reassured, said Pat. You're welcome. Thank you, Pat. That's really great to hear. Any more questions? In terms of examples, we've got lots of examples on here for the person who wanted to see an example of a reflective log. I've not reinvented the wheel. I've gone to the places where we know that there is good examples, and mainly it's Skills for Care, and we've uploaded information from Skills for Care and from the College of Social Work as well. And I have got a couple of reflective logs which I've anonymised, which actually they're my own, that you can see. Someone is saying, do we pay to access the courses? Well, this course is for people who are members, and so yes, there is a fee. Most people who are agency workers who are members of the agencies that have recruited, have asked us to provide this, you would get it for free from your agency. So lots of agencies, recruitment agencies, are seeing this of immense value to support their social workers, because their agency social workers haven't had this in the past. Only a few people could access training. Now remember, it's not to take the place of face-to-face training. We do face-to-face training, but this is about accessibility for as many agency social workers as we possibly can give it to. Okay. Any more questions before I end this session? Someone is saying, if you're working for an agency who is registered with you and have done reflective logs, will you be able to access the reflective logs you have already done if you are no longer working for that particular agency? If you send the reflective logs to me, I will always copy you into what I send to your agencies. They are your reflective logs, they're not the agencies, it's your work. If they are providing this training for you, they just want to know that you're using it. So you can, absolutely, they're yours. You do what you need with them. If you're an independent but not an agency staff, can you get access to this site? Yes, most definitely. We do have agency social workers and independent social workers on. This is for social workers, and I've done it at a degree for social workers. You're welcome, Joanne. Take care. It's for qualified social workers, so it's very geared towards qualified social workers and what you need. Okay. How is this done as I have a friend? I would say your friend, if she's an agency social worker, should ensure that she's registered with an agency that's one of our customers. If not, then she can drop me a line, but she can register on the site. You're welcome, everyone who is saying that it's really helpful. You're welcome. Thank you, Natalie. Anyone who's trying to access any of the free learning, it will come into your inbox. You're more than welcome. Good night to those people who are saying good night. Reflective logs, as I did it as a past agency. If you did it with us, we'd have sent you a copy. If you haven't, then I won't have a copy for you, but send me an email. I'll just put my email address in here and you can email me. It's gradle@socialworkprocesses.co.uk. Okay, and good night, everyone, and I'll let you know. Okay, I hope that's been useful. If you've got any more questions, just email me at gradle@socialworkprocesses.co.uk. Okay, thank you. You're welcome, everyone. I'm glad it makes sense. Good night. Good night. Okay, good night. Thank you.